in terms of the investors, I believe that the situation is pretty fluid. When we look at the different regions globally, it's very different. For example, the Europeans have started much earlier, so they have a more elaborate taxonomy. They have more proper definition in terms of how the fund should invest, how the company should report. They have the SFDR, they have the EU taxonomy. United Kingdom is coming out with its own taxonomy, and then you have other various institutions working on the ESG. So I think they are completely alive to the idea of sustainability, ESG, and it is embedded in their day-to-day life. That's what I have observed, and that comes out in their investment philosophy and practice as well. America is definitely a lot of voluntary work has happened. So Europe is a lot of regulatory work that has happened, and ultimately you need regulatory requirements for people to fall in line. In America, it's more of voluntary so far. So you see the large investment banks, and they are following all the major disclosures, but there are some thousands of smaller banks and non-banks who have very little idea about this concept. And on one of the recent seminars which I attended, it was being mentioned that this is one of the big areas in which America needs to get together, is act quickly. And when you come to Asia, probably Japan is reasonably ahead. China is also taking good steps, and Korea, Japan, China have announced their net zero targets as a country. Asia, the rest of Asia is just doing okay. Singapore, of course, is doing pretty well, as you would expect. But elsewhere, I think it is just catching up. The larger companies who have a sort of requirement of being in the index, or it's more of a reporting requirement. I see that in a very large number of cases, it is the reporting requirement which results into their disclosures rather than it being embedded in their DNA. So the ESG is more of a bolt-on ESG. It is not done by the top person. It's not done by the CEO, but there is a department, and there are consultants who would do the work. So I believe the same situation exists with the investment industry also. Thanks. So if we look at in the Indian context, what's happening is that this area is over time significantly captured by the private equity, who have lesser cost of capital, and also the government policies have made more sense for them to come in, and because government is the off-taker through SECI, etc., it is kind of helping channelize foreign flows into that activity. So as far as utility scale is concerned, it is quite easy to get the funding for these projects. And despite of that, I mean, we have not seen the most desired level of capacity addition every year. But clearly, when it comes to the smaller, the rooftop or the other financing, like until this ethanol blending took place, and now that it has come into limelight, government has advanced its time frame from 2030 to 2025 and then 2023. We did not realize the scale that it can bring. And then because I wrote a note on Praj Industries a few months ago, and I've been tracking that company over the years. I mean, there is a lot you can do on biodiesel, There is a lot you can do on biogas, and I think Mr. Krishnan very well mentioned in the beginning about the advanced biofuels, the cellulosic material or the algae.
Yes.
There's so much that can be done, but all those areas are ignored. And if actually you have a focus on cutting out some of the emissions, let's say if you have to cut down your emission by 35 to 45% in this decade, then all these things will count. And perhaps there is not so much amount of financing available over there, and that is also requiring a lot of innovation. If somebody puts mind to that, including banks, all stakeholders have to sit together, we can have a significant amount of positive results over there. So yeah, that's my
stakeholders coming together. Yeah, right.